everybody's trying to grapple with this whole world of AI, what it means, how to interpret it, what to engage, all the new tools that are being spun up every 3 seconds. You get a new Facebook ad for some new thing that 2 kids in a college room developed.
The AI answering is basically takes over whenever the dispatcher cannot answer the phone. And to be honest, today it's doing a much better job than a human being. Why? It's persuasive. It never misses a call. It can answer 10 calls at a time. And it knows a few languages. It's very smart. It has a Q&A.
My name is Brad Stevens, founder and CEO of Outsource Access, here with our incredibly talented team that is running the Workiz platform for tons of clients all over the United States. Another one of our major announcements here is that we are about to go deep in supporting this platform. We already have a ton of clients that we're working with on it, and we're living in that software. So kind of walk us through what that day-to-day looks like.
Everything is in there. And I can also see invoice coming in, payments coming in, even the slightest communication within the team and the clients. It's very comprehensive.
Yeah, it's all centralized in one place.
Yeah,
you can kind of go in.
You really don't need to go to any other platforms for Rednose itself.
Yeah.
So everything Workiz is everything.
Yeah, it's consolidated and
it's there.
It's a full workforce, field workforce management platform that handles all components.
Yeah,
right?
Everybody can see what is happening inside Workiz.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another incredibly high impact, high takeaway value episode of how outsourcing and AI works for the small to medium business community. As we know, it is a ever-changing landscape, and we have a incredible opportunity here for a phenomenal guest that, sits right at the helm of the small to medium business community in a big way. Didi Azaria, thank you so much for being here, the current CEO of Workiz. Thanks for being with me.
Hi there, how are you?
So tremendous accomplishment. We'll dive into his background, but sitting at the forefront and kind of running, the premier software for the field workforce management platform and what they're navigating and seeing across the SMB market and the challenge that are facing all the small to medium business community out there. Everybody's trying to grapple with this whole world of AI, what it means, how to interpret it, what to engage, all the new tools that are being spun up every 3 seconds. You get a new Facebook ad for some new thing that 2 kids in a college room developed. And trying to figure out what to make of it. And so we're all in together and, hopefully continue to bring some light and hear people's different perspectives and case studies. It's helpful in the journey. So I like to kick off always with our guests, whether you take nothing else from our time together that he and I'll dive into, which I'm sure you will get a lot of takeaway value. I'd love to kick off with a tool or resource that my guest and myself maybe have dug into lately, not a mainstream, but tool app experience that could be of value. So I'll let you kick off, Didi. What's maybe a latest efficiency tool or resource you found?
Podcast, other than yours, of course. Yours are number one, but it's called the AI Daily Brief. It's a little bit technical, but one of the best resources I ever listened to when you want to dive deeper into the AI world. And it's not just technical. It actually shows you investment opportunities, new technologies, and where the market goes to. I think that the guy leading it is, his name is Nathan Waitmore. He's very sharp. I actually agree with everything that he does right now and thinks of. Do that and you'll be enlightened.
Fantastic. And so it's the AI Daily Brief, you said?
Yeah.
Perfect. And we're all trying to find, there's tons and tons of information sources and trying to find those that do a good job of it and distill it down. So it sounds like that'll be a great one to check out. So we'll put that in the show notes and everybody can check that one out. I'll try and bring up a screenshot of it here I can show. And on my end, and Didi and I were talking, I'm a huge Jim Collins fan. And a lot of people out there have, his book and, Good to Great is one he's known for. He's written a number of books, I think 7 or 8 at this point. And what I appreciate is just the amount of research and effort that goes into any piece of work he does. It's usually a decade and tons of researchers. And a lot of people don't know on jimcollins.com, you can actually go and he has this thing called the map where you can see all of his frameworks in one tight framework that's there on his website. But the thing I'll share is his recent book that's more of a personal flavor to it is What to Make of a Life by Jim Collins. And just like all of his other books, 10 years of research, he does this really cool parallel study of care of individuals, kind of like he did in Good to Great, right? Created matched pairs and to see their journey and did that on a personal basis, right? And he basically it's going to explain a personal version of the hedgehog concept, right? And the flywheel that he does through kind of a personal lens. So we're all trying to figure out, our path and journey. And so it's a great one to check out, and love the intentionality and the frameworks of What to Make a Life by Jim Collins. So that's our quick 2 tools we shared with everybody. You can take a quick win. If nothing else is valuable, but I know we're going to dive into some great content here. So Didi is the current CEO of Workiz, incredible software application that, especially in the home and commercial services space, right? There's a lot of moving parts in that business more than ever. And a lot of the individuals that are running these companies are navigating, employees, and they're dealing Google reviews, and they're dealing with payroll, and they're dealing with logistics and all the different elements that's associated with it. And trying to figure out ways to improve what their journey and their, kind of experience is. And so he sits at the helm of the business. And I'll have to say, one of the most user-friendly, user-focused type applications to really listen to the customer and what their needs are to make their life easier versus harder, which we know some software applications can kind of go the opposite direction in terms of how they're managing and using it as a platform. So Didi, I'll turn it to you and let you kind of share your background and path and what led you to kind of what your current position is. And then we'll dive in, as I talked about, just like in our business, Outsource Access, working in 85 industries, right at the front line of small to medium business, what they're navigating and struggling with, what are the top challenges, and then how you're helping them process and solve those challenges. But give a quick little background on your journey.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So Didi Azaria, I'm a serial entrepreneur. So a few startups in my journey. I'm almost 50. But just to give, I guess, a starting point, 25 years ago, I started as a locksmith in Sherman Oaks, LA. A service guy in a van, no mobile device, no GPS. You think that today is hard. Just try to navigate without a GPS or a cell phone and get to a client that is never home. This is how I started.
West pages that we would print back in the day.
Thomas Cook. So started as a locksmith, been doing it. Actually, the business still exists until today. But then I realized that probably can be better at the tech world. So co-founded a company in the BI space and the business intelligence space, which grew quite significantly. It's called Sisense. And 8 years ago, I met my current partner, Dan, from San Diego. We match made in heaven, I guess. We fell in love. He was a very successful service owner all across the West Coast. We joined forces together. I brought the high tech, he brought the low tech, and together we're running the company for the past 8 years. And the main reason I'm here is obviously to help small businesses to thrive in a very challenging world. But more importantly, and this is probably for everyone that is in this business, it's probably one of the largest markets in the world that nobody pays attention to. Of course, there are people that are paying attention to, but if you're doing service business right now, you should know that you're probably better than any high-tech company, and I'm saying it as a high-tech company. You're probably going to be more successful, make more money, and be happier. Therefore, here I am.
And so the genesis of this particular direction, and thanks for the background, and it's always appreciative, like when you've actually lived and breathed in your customer's shoes, right? And so you know exactly what they've kind of navigated. So with meeting with your partner Dan, so how did you end up choosing specifically this particular direction, this particular market, to serve from the various different options that you had to choose from?
Great question. So opportunity is there. Now let's talk about the market size. Is obviously huge. Probably 30 million employees in the US right now are doing service jobs around the States and keeping our lives very comfort. When we were working in this kind of business, we noticed a few very noticeable challenges. The first one is, how do I get leads? How do I get jobs? Everybody wants more jobs. How much do I pay per lead and what's the ROI? Nobody knew that back in the days. How do I make my employees answer the phone? How do I make my technicians be a good customer service and not just a great technician? So at the end of the day, we wanted to figure out a way to help those small businesses to grow using automated tools, I guess. And our mission is fairly simple since day one. We're going to automate everything but the wrench. And I think we're doing it quite successfully today.
Everybody that's watching the video version of this, kind of pulling up the website and seeing your origin story as well here. You guys in a couple of wetsuits with some surfboards.
That's the two founders. I'm not surfing. I drown very well.
No, it's a great journey and story, and again, being very customer centric right from the beginning. And so, and taking a look at as far as the industries and give all the listeners kind of context in terms of the breadth. Roughly kind of, I don't know if you can share total customers and that you're kind of supporting and servicing, and the industries. We got HVAC, plumbing, locksmith, electrician, garage door, appliance repair, and then kind of all industries here. So it sounds like broadly you're supporting basically any industry in this space. How do you define sort of the customers that you can support, and how broad is it in terms of customers that you're supporting?
Great question. So let's start with how many technicians we serve right now. It's around 100,000 across US and Canada. We're very focused on North America. We do a lot of industries, but our main ones obviously started as locksmiths, but these days we see more of a shift towards HVAC, plumbing, electrical contractors. These are the largest, I would still say underserved businesses in the US. So each of these segments is 200,000 businesses. They can buy very expensive software that gives them 100% of what they need, or very cheap software that gives them 50 to 40% of what they need. I think that Workiz serves these businesses quite well, doing two very important things: ease of use and price versus value. Those two things are, in my eyes, match made in heaven for businesses who wants to grow, who understands the trade, but find it very difficult to run in this digital age.
And if you were to describe kind of your typical, right, and a lot of these are, I mean, it's always surprising when people share, that only 4 to 5% of businesses do over $1 million in the United States, right? I mean, 96% of businesses do less than $1 million. Every time I share that with people, they're blown away at the 30 million plus, small to medium businesses. But, a business is still categorized, right? Even as a self-proprietor with, one guy in a truck or maybe a technician or two. I mean, you got a range, I'm sure, of size of clients, but sort of what is your typical, customer that you're servicing in terms of the size of their business and scope that they may be servicing?
We have everything on earth, but in general, we best serve growing teams. So if you're a chuck in a truck, I appreciate you, but you're probably not going to sit next to a computer and run your day. And to be honest, it's probably not the best use of your time. Once you think about growing from solo operator to a dispatcher and one more technician, this is probably when Workiz fits better. There are very cheap solutions out there for a one-man show. I'm not going to name them. Everybody knows them. And from that point, Workiz will help you. I mean, we can clearly see that once they have a growing mindset, we help them grow about 38% on average by revenue. This is a lot for a small business. This basically makes them grow their business even further.
Helping them grow by what percentage?
38% in the first year.
Wow. Substantial.
And now this number seems like crazy, but let me give you one example of what everybody are doing and failing, and it's crazy. 40% of the calls. So Workiz is a business in a box, basically. Okay, a phone system, a scheduling system, and a payment. 40% of the calls, when we're running calls for most of our customers, 40% of the calls are missed. Now, can you imagine that you advertise on Google, Yelp, whatever, in this kind of, pay-per-click can cost easily $40-50, easily, one click. Why the hell won't you answer? It's crazy. It's insane.
Yeah.
And they will tell you, well, I'm advertising and my employee just went to the toilet, or they took a day off, or I'm in the attic, okay? Once we realized that, we said, okay, let's create a few automations, okay? This is how we call them. It's AI behind the scenes, but automated system can do, okay, you called us and we didn't answer, let's send you a text message with a booking link. So it's list. At that point, you will have the ability to book with me after I paid $40, let's remember. Now, in the AI age, and we were the first to launch it, and very successful motion, by the way, the AI answering basically takes over whenever the dispatcher cannot answer the phone. And to be honest, today it's doing a much better job than a human being. Why? It's persuasive. It never misses a call. It can answer 10 calls at a time. And it knows a few languages. It's very smart. It has a Q&A, basically. It's a machine that learns every day. And we have a lot of data to train on, right? Customers are enjoying that. Just turning this feature on. And I'm not selling Workiz here. There are a lot of solutions out there. But if you own the data and the AI is on top of this data, 10% increase in revenue across every customer. Doesn't matter how big or how small they are. That's huge for businesses who makes $1 million, I guess.
No, it's significant. I mean, it's amazing how much just gets lost. We're actually working with another big national real estate, company as well. And the biggest leak is just the follow-up, right? In terms of you spend all this money and time to get a customer, to have them come to an event, to respond to a Google ad, to opt into a form, to show interest, right? To make a phone call, right? But there's no, follow-up process. There's a lack of, resources. And so being able to have the AI tool.
You'll be amazed how many people are doing the job, forgetting to collect the money. They send the invoice.
Yep.
And they forget about it. And again, digital systems meant to reduce this kind of frictions, and we're doing it quite well.
So let's kind of break that down in a more structured way. And as a lot of our listeners know, in my world, right, I've been an entrepreneur 25 years and built a bunch of companies, and we started Outsource Access. We actually having our 7th year anniversary this month. Grew to 500 people in about 4.5 years, and because we launched right before COVID, in an offshore staffing in the Philippines, and incorporating there, hiring them as full-time employees, and trying to, so I love about your mission and your business is like truly making a sustainable, reliable experience for small to medium business when it comes to exploring the offshore, staffing piece to integrate and work in their business, just like how you are so focused on the user experience and listening and feeling like, what is it like to wake up in the shoes, right, of a growing business owner and what they're navigating with people and culture and leadership and turnover and hiring, and not to mention the actual technical execution of the work and supply chain and inventory and so forth. But being able to see kind of a range of, we find ourselves in 80 or so industries. When COVID, I saw wipe out certain industries. I'm like, we're not going to focus on one industry. I don't want to wake up and find ourselves out of business. So we ended up being in quite a range. And so, similar to you, get a chance to see, the front lines of small to medium business America and Canada as well, across the board, and the challenges typically that they're navigating. And, when it comes to this AI world, and we were just talking about it, everybody, asks about my business and otherwise, how is AI, impacting your business, and, what are you navigating? And the challenge is just the bandwidth, the pipe of the typical small to medium business owner that's running these, right? They've only got so much capacity, right, with everything they're doing to run their business day to day, with just dealing with employee turnover and navigating that. And I'm curious, we'll go into some of the feature set that Workiz is doing, and we've had a chance, that's how we end up connecting with Didi, is we, a lot of times we go work with clients, we create these playbooks documenting all the work that we're doing. And we found that, a big area that we were kind of helping or supporting was the software that they're running in their business. And you've actually got a client up in the Northeast that is in the holiday lights business that chose you guys over several different ones. And so we actually put our staff through to kind of understand your software in and out. And it was one of the easiest to understand and embrace, right? And it's phenomenal, great user experience. But we were able to even help them maximize even, more utilization of it as they were growing, because they wanted to focus on getting the technicians and focus on their employees and getting the right people to go out and execute kind of the work. But when you step back and look at this cross section of what are the biggest challenges that this, your technician type businesses are facing, if you were to kind of think of the top 3 or 4, we talked about, answering phone calls, right? Just answering calls when they come in, right? They've got a website up, they got a Facebook page, they got their phone number up, just responding, which kind of addressing that with the AI solution. Paying, right? Funny enough, I had somebody come out here and put mulch and pine straw in my yard yesterday, right? And she's asking to give her a phone call to follow up, to give her a credit card over the phone, right? Which I'm going to tell her to hopefully be a customer for you guys, which is crazy to think of. Like literally they came and did it, and just she's texting my wife, and I was like, hey, could you give us a call to pay us? And if that text message gets lost in my text, my busyness and so forth, then she's sending another one, right? Versus an automated outreach with a text message, with a link, with an email to take care and pay for it. So collecting money. Do you have I know you talked about the percentage of business, right? 40% aren't answered. Do you have any kind of number related to like just the collection side? Like what percentage of revenue is being lost by not having the follow-up being done on payments? Kind of any data point on that?
I cannot give you an actual number, but there is a lot of wasted money. I mean, forget about how much money is not getting collected. Most businesses today live on cash, meaning if they don't have the cash today, they cannot pay technicians or hardware. Okay, even worse, hardware is like you cannot buy the hardware, you cannot do the job. Very simple. Just imagine this lady who came to your house, did the job. She needs the money. She better get the money right now instead of in 2 days, because that's cash balance that doesn't exist now. And it's so much, you can see it all over the place. Now, obviously, with an embedded payment solution like Workiz, I mean, everything, I mean, you never forget, because the automation says, okay, the job is done. A payment link is being sent, whether it's on site, if they want to use tap to pay. It's cheaper, I guess, for more of us and safer, or do it in payments, buy now, pay later. There are many options. But you want to have a cash flow, because cash flow allows you to pay your technicians, to pay yourself, to pay the rent. And if you don't have the cash flow, guess what? You need to take a loan. This loan costs you much more money than any kind of solution that you're going to use for scheduling. Okay, so nuances, but most businesses forget to do that. Most businesses forget to take the tax, to put it aside, because they have tax season later on. Then you find yourself without money. So it's the little things who makes a huge difference on the operational excellency of every business. I don't think that most businesses are failing in servicing you or anyone else. They're failing in managing the basics. Distribution, how do I get leads? How do I serve the leads? And how do I get returning clients? This is what makes a successful business.
Yeah, I mean, it's the fundamentals, a lot of times that just are getting missed, and being able to give them capacity to be able to do it. And just, if anybody here reflects on their home service, experiences and commercial as well, whether it's like I had somebody come and do roofing, right, and did a drone look over of our house and so forth, and I'm having to text him 4 times to send me the quote and the summary from all of it, right? And so being able to have these tools in place to automate. So if I go back and throw kind of the service nature of all the different industries, and again, we're such a big advocate. We've actually got a whole dedicated page on our website just for Workiz and our staff that we've trained in the software application. And we'll put all this kind of in the show notes as well, and some great case studies and examples of some of the clients that are using it and the impact that it's had. But if you look at the other service functions you guys are doing, right? And so if I look at, and I've got up here sort of the essentials, efficiency tools, financial services, communication AI. So we talked about the AI answering. We talked about kind of the invoicing ability to send out. One of the things we also saw, and I'm curious if you've seen it, is we got a company in the turf care space that sprays chemicals on yards, right? And I've identified specifically, and again, when we're looking at where do we want to focus more deeply ourselves in our business, where where's AI not going to replace everything automatically tomorrow in terms of what staff are doing? They're not going to spray chemicals or fix roofs anytime soon, but going and getting upsell revenue, right? So 2 technicians, and if you look at all the home services, right? Roofing is kind of one-off, and gutters are kind of more fractured in terms of the consistency. But pest control and yard care, right, are having technicians come very consistently. And we found that with ones we've worked with is the technicians will come out and they're getting their monthly recurring revenue or whatever for doing that service. But the technician finds something typically in pest control and in yard care, like hey, ADD, we were at your yard today, and there was a brown spot. You want a fungicide treatment on your next visit for $80. We realized so much money is getting left on the table. And so we have
one word, upsells, exactly.
And the technicians typically aren't a sales personality, and then they'll come back and report it in whatever system, and then never does. So we actually, one of our staff, we trained on in 2 weeks on chemicals, and she sold $100,000 in the first 3 months and $500,000 last year, just calling this turf care company's customers and just saying, hey, Mrs. Jones, so-and-so was out today, saw so-and-so, and it's curb appeal. They care about their house looks. I mean, an 80% yes rate, $500,000 for this business. It's in the $3 to $4 million range. That's significant lift. And the same thing with pest control. They come out, the technicians, they always see something, a need for another bait, maybe like a hornet's nest that needs to be removed. That's additional revenue at scale that's being, missed. So when you're all in the application, is there anything you've specifically addressed on that piece of revenue? Not just the initial visit and getting paid and getting cash in the door, but a way to kind of manage upsells as well.
The best tip I can give is checklists, a mandatory checklist. So before you leave the compound, you must do the checklist, and checklists are per job type, so landscaping or whatever, right? if the technician must do the checklist, they will notice these things if they exist. And guess what? People are not going to say no in many cases. If you've seen something that disturbs you, it probably will disturb them. Once you do checklists, you have more capabilities to upsell. And again, don't ever push anything they don't need. But that's exactly what the most successful businesses do. They come for one reason, they upsell for another reason, and who else is going to allow you get into their home, right? Getting into their home is seeing the challenges, the frictions in home. And as a homeowner, and you probably can relate to that, you have thousands of things that bothers you, but you don't have the time to call someone, right? But if this someone is already home, well, guess what? Okay, come over, just fix it. I wanted to do that for a year. You can listen to calls over and over again. Oh, thank you so much. You've done that for me. I saw it and I could not stand it anymore. That's the real magic of a good service. You do a good service, you do the checklist, you suggest, and you upsell.
Yeah, for those watching the video, just showing on the site there, it looks like it's something that people can use for free as well, right? As a way to kind of experience the product and having those checklists, and if they just go through that process. And yeah, I recall on our team, I was looking at the playbooks for ones we're supporting with Workiz, and that's one of the things that we're having our staff do is help make sure that those checklists are built out and making sure the technicians are actually going through it, because if they will go through it, there's an opportunity. And maybe, it's a decision that has to happen with, the husband and the wife, or whoever the partners are at the house. And so then there's got to be the follow-up, right? There's got to be the checklist and to show it, and then make sure that the follow-up process is happening, right? Until they say, no, not interested. But you've got that ongoing relationship that you can continue to kind of engage. So,
absolutely. And there is a defect, right? So you can use our Genius Marketing, again, another AI tool that never let go. Remember, in the good old days, you had to do it manually. You need to send postcards or whatever. Right now, you know that there are defects. Use those defects as your marketing material. It doesn't matter if you use Workiz or anything else. I don't care. As long as you understand that your previous clients are your future clients. And if you use this, it's like a pendulum. You do a job, they will return if you did a good job. But you need to follow up. They will never remember your name. Why would they? Unless you're going to be top of mind. That's the magic of creating a great business. And it's any business, not just SMBs and not just field service.
Well, let me ask you an interesting question. When you look at kind of the feature set of and look, this isn't just a commercial for Workiz, and as he said, right? And same thing in me with Outsource Access in our company. I'm very, at the end of the day, I'm just an advocate for small to medium business and efficiency, because I believe it's the heartbeat of our economy. And the more, with a 6-year-old and a 10-year-old kind of going into the world, have no idea. I think we're one of the first generations has no idea what our children's careers are going to be. But entrepreneurial,
they're going to be plumbers. They're going to be plumbers.
The technician at the automotive dealership is going to be making $500,000 a year, right? Because there's only going to be 4 that go into that is a path, which is interesting, right? The trades industry is interestingly going to, and you're already seeing it, right? And a lot of them, when I got my vehicle fixed not too long ago, I spent a while talking to the general manager, and he says, it's unbelievable now what we're paying. And these technicians are drifting from shop to shop, right? Because they can, bring the demand.
Get more money. Yeah. It's the new high tech.
Well, I know we're closing out on our time here. Now, I'll ask one question on, if you look at all the feature sets and things that you can do to support, and we talked about the fundamentals, right? Just answering the phones, getting invoices out, doing follow-ups, right? Making sure that your leads are being captured, that they're coming in and engaging. What would you say is one of the feature sets or abilities that you offer as a part of your platform that isn't getting utilized enough, that could add a lot more value if they were, right? One of those areas that, they're still not fully utilizing maybe to its full potential.
I think there is a lot of scarcity around the world with AI. Like it's giving something a permission to do your job. I think that once small businesses will realize that AI is doing a better job than them, better job than human beings, better job than any human being that they're trying to train and unfortunately cannot retain at some point, they will be more profitable. And this includes, we offer all of the things. Again, it's not an ad for Workiz. Let's be straight here. But use ChatGPT, use Claude, use whatever you can in order to promote your business and put it on automation. Make it work for you instead of just Q&A. ChatGPT is not for Q&A. It's agent. It's an agent. Protect me from emails I haven't seen. Remind me to ping that client about this estimate they never got back to. Okay, so Workiz just encapsulated in a world where we have all the context, and obviously we know the pace that is right for you to make more money. But in general, fear from AI is just like fear, in the agriculture when we're working on the fields and the big combines came and did the work. There should be no fear today because change is happening and you cannot fight it. Just join it and make sure that your business is more profitable. I believe that's the most important lesson we can have today in this conversation.
Yeah, go back to Jim Collins. I think talks about the Stockdale paradox, right? Have full faith and confidence we are going to be successful in the end, but you got to face the brutal facts of where we are, right? And you can't kind of put your head in the sand around it. You've got to embrace it and understand it's going to be part of our world going forward. It's not a short-term thing. So,
yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Steve, for being on, and look forward to sharing this out. And everybody that's showing the video, you can go connect with them on LinkedIn. I can go to workiz.com and learn more about. They've got some different downloads. You click on resources there. There's an entire download, the podcast, and download a maintenance agreement sales plan, free ebook, a lot of resources there. And learn more about us. You can always go to outsourceaccess.com and you can actually click on the software support drop down and see a lot of the software applications we're supporting with staff out of the Philippines, supporting small to medium business. If you send an email to tools, TOOLS, tools@outsourceaccess.com and put Workiz, WRKIZ in the subject line, we will send you a comprehensive playbook we put together, over 700 things for the home and commercial services space that can help drive and scale your business, and a unique 2-question exercise that surprises people that can help unearth a lot of your challenges. So until next time, thanks again for coming to our episode here. Takeaway value. Thank you, Didi, for your time. I got to hop to the next call. It's been great chatting with you, and I look forward to continue to support the good work you're doing and empowering more small to medium businesses to redefine how they scale.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the time.
Yeah, Didi, take care.